Finance meeting, we're gonna call the meeting to order at 6:04. Chairman Rogers in attendance, present. Thank you.
Alderwoman Jefferson, present.
Co-chair Randall Turner.
Lewis Williams, Controller, present.
3 for 24. February. Yeah, that would be the proper thing to do. How you doing, Alderman Keys?
Doing good, how everybody doing?
Good. You remember that? Yeah. Yeah. I think we already did February 24th. But
I'm not saying we passed it, but I remember looking at it.
just for,
She doesn't think this council passed, I think is what she told me, Lily.
Oh, okay.
She looked through the minutes and saw this passed.
it wasn't. Okay. All right, we'll review it right quick again. Yeah, you said that money will count, didn't you? Yeah. What made me remember it was the line dance. Yeah, she had seven weeks of invoices. So. We go up to Castle, they got a contract with Castle Car Wash. Okay. All right. Ms. Williams, you recall that Metropolitan Industries Data Service iPad?
They're monitoring the towers in the water department.
Oh,
Excuse me. Hi. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance and then discuss the bill, so that was the agenda.
on the last page on February 24th.
She's 100% correct.
Yes, yes, by all means, please, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, yeah, you're right, right there. You go, my agenda. Yes, February 24th.
March. Oh, okay.
For some reason. She's coming up blank.
Have extra copy. Have extra copy. Indeed.
Okay. All right, meeting order. Can we stand for the pledge of allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any questions in regards to February 24th? Yes.
On the last page.
Last page of February
Which one
24th.
you were speaking of? I can see that.
Okay. I'm sorry. Alderwoman, I gave you the wrong bill. This is for March 10th, the one I'm looking at. Metropolitan Data Service. You see it?
I see it.
Okay. Not
And
bad.
that was the iPads for,
For the monitor the water department.
make sure water's properly pumped to the substations.
Okay. Technical stuff. And John Spirit Company, that's for the annual audit, finance audit?
Yep.
Yep.
You want to go?
Yeah, I remember that. Like that, okay. We can move on to the next one.
You named another one, I'm sorry. You named another one, I'm sorry. Which other one did you name?
Did you go back to this 24?
Not yet, hold on.
Oh.
We gonna go back.
Oh, okay.
We're moving on. Did you
February.
say Ryan's Electronic? Is that what you said?
No.
Because we're on the 10th. What are you on the 10th? huh?
No, we're on the 24.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're on the 24.
Thank you.
No,
And
I
which one
was
did you mention in 24?
on the second page under Department 122 Finance, John Kaspirik, the auditing firm.
Okay,
You see it?
I see it.
Okay.
Have a question?
Sure. Sure, go ahead.
Well, President, am I able to ask questions before we agree on passing to the council, or do I need to wait for public comment? Or can I ask questions now?
Well, by right, you should wait for public comment because you're not a member of the committee. But since you are an alderman, I'm willing to go ahead and allow you to answer the question.
Well, thank you, sir. Because we on for the 24th, right? February 24th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, continuing questions on Department 102 Administrative Services Department. Office expense for our comptroller, Mr. Lewis Williams, reimbursement of $3,465.60. Why are we continuing to use the comptroller's credit card and being reimbursed back to him instead of using it for the general fund?
Okay. That's a legitimate question, but that's something you have to take up with the administration.
Okay.
Can I go on and please speak out since Mayor Hart has asked us to be behind here?
I got you. You're right.
Thank you.
And then, remember, right, it's not the first time that we've actually seen this. We've always had a reimbursement, system that was used throughout, even, with water funds, things like that. It's a reimbursement. It's not like you get the money and you can spend it and just bring back receipts. That's not the way it was done with me, especially the way I was told. You have to spend the money and then you get your money back. So it's not really a foreign practice. Just wanted to add that to you. It's not foreign at all. Okay, well, my question is, why are we not using the money from the general fund instead of from the comptroller?
I'll answer the question. The annual, that's the monthly subscription charges that Microsoft charges us. So if we're not paying, like you can buy Microsoft 365 or whatever you want, Word, Excel, use it all you want when you have a subscription. Here we have to pay based on the number of users we have at City Hall. We have to pay them a monthly subscription price. Unfortunately, every time we try to run it through the debit card, the city's debit card, because the city doesn't have a credit card. The fallback, so they don't turn us off, is after you try the city's card, use mine, but please don't turn it off.
Okay, well, I just got one more question. Department 122 for the finances, for the accounting and audit. John Casper, audited finances statements for the year ended. Says $56,250. So his year ended what year?
He's working on the 22 audit.
Okay, and is the reason that we have to pay these audited finances that due to we're not turning in our information in time?
We gotta pay the auditors. These are the independent auditors. That's what
Yeah.
this fair is.
Yeah, but that's not answering the question that I'm asking.
That's what they are. They're the auditors.
For the year 2022.
Yes.
That's their fee.
For $22,000, and what was that due to why we have to pay?
We gotta pay for the auditors every year.
Okay,
We have to pay for the independent audit of the city.
so why was this done in 2022?
Because they weren't available to do it. We've been looking for a firm to do it, so now they're doing it.
WW Consulting Group Fund, January services 20,000. Is that a separate audit company? 'Cause
That's,
it's two
that-
separate.
that's me. That's my firm. We do all the day-to-day accounting.
That's it for the 24th.
Can we make a motion to ratify the February 24th bills list? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? None. Moving on, take it to the council. Let's go to March the 10th bills list.
I have a question. Account 132, under police, the enterprise,
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds, monthly release for what?
We
vehicle?
lease all the vehicles, yes.
The police company?
Yes.
Did we do that in the first term?
Yes, with Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's probably right.
Since we're talking about police cars, you know, we just hired 16 new
Okay.
police officers. We, as a council, should try to sponsor some legislation to where we can add additional cars for these additional 16 officers.
I don't think there's legislation either. We already got the contract with Enterprise, get more cars.
Okay, well, that's something that I don't want to overstep my boundary. I would prefer if the police chief spoke with the mayor about it, and then the mayor brings it to the council. So that's something that I've been thinking about.
Another one is the equipment rental, Flock Group.
Flock rule is
Make sure
body
y'all-
cams.
Make sure y'all speak up.
That's for the cars. Okay,
Body cams.
Yeah, body cams.
How are we doing with, that's so blunt. My understanding, we definitely owe some significant debt there. Are we making any headway with that?
$600,000 over the last 10 years.
Okay.
Sorry, could you repeat that? It's very hard to hear back here. You guys are like this great. 600 what?
600,000 to answer the link.
Thank you.
Can we take 5 minutes and get some lights? Can you mind, can we take 5 minutes and get some lights? We ain't gotta start nothing, we just plug them up. What?
thank you, Mr. Rush.
All the uniforms and clothing for, the police department, that's coinciding with, the new hires? Or, cause I don't remember how it worked, if they wanted to replace their uniform. Is this
All,
security
all,
miles, right?
the, all the sworn officers get utility, uniform allowances twice a year.
Okay.
One in December, the other in November, and I believe it's May, where they buy the seasonal uniforms. When you see the other uniform purchases, that's for exempt staff, new hires that are going to the academy. and the like.
Chairman, it's a motion, not a motion, Chairman, for recommendation to send this to the full council. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. All right, we're gonna move over to March 24th. March 24th, bills list.
Very short.
It's all the usual stuff.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. All the regular stuff, pay everyone. Do you have any questions on Chairman? All right. Chairman makes a motion to ratify the bills list for March 24th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None? Ayes have it. So we have 3 bills listed to take before the regular council at the regular meeting. At this portion of the meeting, we're gonna open it up for public comment. Well, please, state your name and what your comment is. So whoever would like to start, please, feel free.
Yeah, it's so.
That's all right.
I think we can hear
believe
you.
everybody can hear you, that's all I'm saying.
Oh.
I don't, you know.
Should I go to
You just were active.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they'll be able to hear.
So I have a question regarding, okay, it's probably gonna sound like a broken record at this point, but when are we going to be able to get copies of what you guys are reviewing? And failing that, is there any way that you could at least post, like what the ending balance is for the month versus year to date, and what the expenses are, just so we have some idea of what our cash flow looks like coming into the city and going out? You know, what's being spent, what's being received versus what's being spent, and especially if there's big ticket items. You know, I think we, as taxpayers, deserve to know that.
I think you do too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, ma'am.
So sitting here at the meeting, I was
Excuse me, what's your name?
Amanda.
Amanda.
Yes. And, what is So, my concern is, number one of the agenda, it listed the date of the bills, but again, I guess to reiterate what you're saying, we don't have an itemized line item list of exactly what those bills are, so we can understand, for public consumption, exactly what the bills are being paid either on a quarterly, monthly, or annual basis. that we were paying Xperi for a 2022 audit, so we're paying them in 2025. And I guess my concern is, because there's no documented financials in the last 3 years, they usually force an audit from the state of Illinois. So I guess my concern is, there's over 1,300 towns in the state of Illinois. There's over 1,300 villages, towns, and cities within the state of Illinois. And the concern, your response, Mr. Comptroller, Mr. Williams, was, oh, we were looking for a firm. But I just thought that our neighboring municipalities, I'm sure they work with auditing firms. Why did it take 3 years to pay someone to do something 3 years later when there's other auditing and accounting firms that work with municipalities to produce these type of reports? I guess it's very alarming to me that, one, there's no documented financials for the last 3 years, and you've been here under 2 administrations. But yet, as residents, we're waiting on to know the financial level right now. Whether it's a surplus or a deficit, I think we have a right to know that as residents. And the fact that we have to come to these meetings, nothing wrong with coming to the meetings, but I also feel like this information needs to be shared on a public platform for us. And I just would hope, even though it's not on the agenda, I would hope that in subsequent meetings, that the financials of the town from 23, 24, 22, 23, and 24 fiscal years will be presented for public consumption. That's all.
Do you ever attend the city council meetings?
I have in the past.
No. Did you attend the last one?
I did not. I did watch the video on March 10th where the mayor did explicitly explain the duties of the treasurer and the comptroller, but it still did not answer the question of what is this financial state of the city of Harlem. So it's one thing to explain the duties of the comptroller and the treasurer. It still does not answer the question that we're missing 3 years of audited financial statements.
Yes, ma'am.
And again, explaining the duties of the treasurer and the comptroller, while it is important, as adults, I feel like that's something that we could Google and read ourselves. It just felt like a lot of fluff. And I just want to know, as a resident, what is the financial state of our town? And again, if it's a surplus, if it's a deficit, whatever it is, I just think that that is something that needs to be addressed, and it needs to be publicly and accessibly available to everyone.
Thank you.
Were you, let me ask
Hey,
you.
hold on. I want to address a question. You're absolutely right. It's inexcusable that we're just doing the fiscal 22 audit. But when I say it's more of an accounting profession issue, where the number of firms that are doing municipal audits has dropped drastically in this state. For instance, our previous firm, before John Kisberg came, who did the fiscal 21 audit, we used GWA. They did the prior 3 audits. They got out of the business. Prior to that, the past 7 audits, these are auditors I've worked on since I've been here. The audits from 2009 to 2020 were all done by Lauterbach. They took their focus away from doing municipal audits. And again, you don't have to take my word on who all is behind in the audits. You're more than welcome to go to the State of Illinois Controller site and Google delinquent municipalities. And you'll find that their municipalities is much bigger than Harvey that are behind 4 and 5 years on their audit. It's not an excuse, it's just the reality of the accounting profession.
I was gonna say, just so I had clarity. So if I'm wrong, then Mr. Williams, please correct me. The auditing is more of kind of keeping an eye on what we're telling you, right? It's kind of like giving you that outside view of the finances. But if you came to like the December when we're going and we're doing a budget and we went through that, we go all the way through our finances from top to bottom, from beginning to end. Now, when we do that, the auditors, they come in and say, no, that ain't right. Y'all didn't finish the year with a surplus of $2 million. That's a lie. They're like the third eye. But we give everything. It's a full presentation, okay? But of course,
What meeting is this again? This whole-
before we pass the budget.
The budget meeting.
The budget hearing. Nobody really comes to the budget hearing. Just like
It's-
we're mighty light in this finance meeting. But people get up and say, we're not telling you anything, but you gotta come. And I'm not saying you didn't. But that's what typically happens, because by law, we have to have a public hearing. And that man right there gets up there for about 2 hours and go over all of our financials. We went over the bonds, where we were at on those bonds, what we were trying to do with those bonds to bring it down. We went over our increases at the police department. Why? Because we wanted to hire more police. And how much money was going to be put into that increase. We go through everything.
And I understand that, and I do appreciate that nugget about the budget hearing. Where is that on the website? And again, there's no financial system
I
on 21.
I
So
have nothing
again,
to
it should
do with
be
that.
accessible whether someone attends a meeting or not. That information should be able to be consumed.
Well, you know, just to add on what my colleague was saying, that when we post it for the finance meeting, it's usually posted annual budget, annual fiscal year budget will be discussed. And that's when Mr. Lewis does his presentation. So, I would suggest, since I see your concern, and then you as well, Ms. Watson, that you all kind of try to keep abreast of the agenda of the finance meeting. And in the future, you'll probably be.
What ward do you live in?
Yours,
Where?
in your ward. Actually, reach out to you, email someone, so they don't respond back.
Okay, now, when it's over, we'll talk, because I believe I know what you're talking about.
As far as
The
the
email.
financials,
Did you ask me about financials?
I actually knew it was in our next board meeting.
Yes, I responded to you. Okay, well, let me see it, let me look at my phone,
Okay.
and then we'll compare. But I believe I did.
Is there anybody else for public comment?
Yeah, I just said, let's piggyback on what she just
In
said.
your name, sir?
Missouri.
Mr. Urban. Okay.
Third ward.
Okay, loudly for you, please. Thank you.
How were you guys able to find the auditor that you needed to do the audit this time of the schools? How did that come about? I mean, how were they able to find one so quick?
They did the last audit.
They did that same company did the last
Yes, they
audit?
did the 21 audit, yeah.
Okay, and so did you guys ask them to do the audit again?
We had asked them to do the audit right away, but their staffing didn't allow them to start doing it until this year.
So you all told the state that was already, that you had already contacted them and asked them to be your auditor?
Yeah, we
And they
did.
said,
The city said, and the state said they were gonna force an auditor, and I said, come on with it, whoever your auditor will, well, I don't care who audits the city of Harvey.
but the state knows that you had already contacted them and asked them to do the audit for you?
Yes.
And then they said that they couldn't, and then the state went and told them that they have to do the audit for
No,
you?
that's not what
I'm trying to
happened.
find out.
They said they were gonna force audit, and they weren't going to wait on Casper. And I said, fine, send the auditors in. I have no problem. I don't really care who does the audit.
And then Casper came
And
in?
Casper came in, and their auditors weren't ready, so Casper is doing the audit.
That's interesting.
I think it's, like I said, if I had 3 auditors here at Harvey, I don't care. Audit is nothing but the testing what we already have. And I think, and
And that's good. I hear what
I put
you're saying.
100% reliability in what I have. I've never got anything
I'm not
other.
saying that you-
No, I'm saying we've never had anything other than a clean.
Excuse me,
sweep.
we can only speak it one at a time.
Right, all I'm saying is this, is that we'd like to know what's going on too, that's all.
Oh,
You know, just for the record.
I agree.
Nothing personal against anybody, just for the record.
Oh, no, this is my money. The public has a right to know. I mean, you'll never hear me refute that. I tell people I work for the citizens of Harvey,
Okay.
just under the pleasure of the mayor.
I have another question. You mentioned about the bond rating. What is our current bond rating?
We don't have it.
As far as the Harvey, the obligation bond.
We don't have them.
Okay, so I know the.
As most small towns are, it is very difficult to maintain a bond rating.
Question? Anybody Anybody else?
You said, I got one more. You said that the city of Harvey doesn't have a water rating. Okay, so they don't have a water rating because we defaulted on the bonds and we had to renew more work in.
Just the state of finance.
Because all bonds are rated, whether they are municipal or whatever. Moody's, Standards and Poor, all bonds are rated.
I would disagree with you, but if that's your statement, I'll accept it.
I mean, I talked to them, so I know, what I'm talking about. Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
You were first, Alderman, go ahead.
Thank you. My question is, as a resident, when we continue, there are questions that have explanations, but not clear explanations, and then there's certain things that we have to refer to the mayor to get further elaboration. So my question is, why do we continue to move something to council to be voted on when all the questions are not clear? Can we just have a process where all the residents have information that they need, no questions have to be asked, and then move forward instead of questions not being asked but still being going through the council to be voted on?
Is that your comment?
No, well, that was my question, and in addition to the situation with the audit from 2022, that we still have to receive a letter from the comptroller, an engagement letter, and just because we didn't file in 2022, there's a big sum or some estimated close to $100,000 that we will have to pay for not filing on time. So what is this process of us still having to have our audit from 2022 being done in 25, and nobody's talking about the additional fees we have to pay to get it done?
The city of Harvey has never, I've been here, this is my 2-year agreement. This is year 12. I had the city of Harvey has yet to pay a fine to the controller's office for failing to file an audit report time.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
With that,
Sorry.
you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, the people that made such great comments. I just wanted to say in agreement, and then there were a few people in the online chat. They're asking the same thing as far as where are the receipts and invoices that we have been asking for several years now. We've asked the city council, we've asked the finance committee. I know Ms. Glynis was gracious enough to share where she's familiar with Evanston, how they release their packet publicly before every meeting. And it has all the bids for anything that's going out to bid. It has receipts, invoices. It's quite complete. When are we finally going to see that information? Because even the bills list, the mayor started writing confidential on it, so we can't even see that before the meeting. But that's also very problematic. I mean, anyone can type in what the bills are. So until we see receipts and invoices, any talk of finances in the city for years, we're just taking the mayor and comptroller's word on it. We really, when are we going to see the receipts?
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Motion to
All
adjourn.
right, I have an additional question.
Ma'am, you've already had 2 questions, and I think you've exceeded the 3-minute limit. But go ahead.
Oh, I didn't know we had a minute or.
I made mention of that at the beginning, but please go ahead.
Okay. So, Mr. Key, you mentioned about a penalty for the state not filing. Is there a fee for this municipalities when they don't file? Is there a fee, or is it just, hey, you guys didn't file, make sure you file?
Ma'am, the controller answered that question, that the city of Harvey in the past 12 years have never had to pay a fine for not filing for their audit in a timely manner. In the past 12 years.
It didn't pay, but I'm asking the state assessor, right? It's one thing what the city may or may not pay, I'm saying does the state assessor, right? That's what I was.
We have yet to be assessed or paid.
Assessed or paid, right?
Yes.
I just wanted to clear that. Okay.
Thank you.
Did we answer my question? I know you guys answered the others about the receipts.
That's not, it's not really, it's not like, listen, I think I speak for probably everybody in the room. I could care less if we loaded up all the receipts on the internet. I don't care, but that is not my department and I have zero control over it.
Well, you guys are the finance committee, so that's why I'm asking you.
Yes, but I'm not the media person, and the media person doesn't work for me, so I can't tell him what to do.
So could maybe you guys could suggest an ordinance to provide that transparency? Put it on the agenda?
Again,
Just an idea?
again, there's a proper individual who deals with that and has access to the internet, and I don't know how anything gets on that website at all. I don't. And you know, there's a proper person who knows that. That's done by the administration, and I believe that that's where you should take your fight to, because there's nothing I can
You're
do.
actually sent back to this committee, so that's why I'm asking you.
Talk to me afterwards.
We've been on a public answer, but I'm just saying for the record. So
I felt like I
we
answered
have
you,
no
though.
receipts years later.
If you-
We have no receipts, we have to take it on your word of all the finances, the millions of dollars. and-
We understand your concern, sir. Appreciate it. Motion to adjourn at 6:40, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.